I consider myself to be a pretty courteous man. What the fuck are you doing out of the kitchen? And where's my beer? And for that reason, I simply do not fit in with the 14-year-old immature assholes who populate online multiplayer servers these days. There used to be a time when people playing together on the same team helped each other out. Or maybe I'm just getting old, I don't know. I've been a fan of Battlefield since 1942. The game, not the date. The other one, although that one was pretty cool also. Well, there, better. Back in those days, players helped each other out. If the team was losing a flag, every single player, not otherwise preoccupied with defending another flag, would converge on the flag being captured. In the same manner, if a player on your team was capturing a flag and called for help, people actually responded. Now it seems as though everyone is in it for themselves, even going as far as allowing flags to be captured just for the chance of being able to recapture them themselves, earning more points. Doesn't matter if that puts the success of the whole mission at risk. It's the classic American mentality of me, myself and I. The worst example of this mentality, which is unlike anything I've ever experienced in a team-based multiplayer game before, happened the first time I was trying to fly a helicopter. The round was going pretty evenly and most players were spawning at the flags to be closer to the action. I had just been killed by a tank, so I decided to spawn at the base to get myself some armor. I was completely alone and I noticed that the attack helicopter was just sitting there. I looked around to see if anybody else was waiting for it, but there was no one in sight. I ran up to it, strapped myself in and fired up the engines. Then I noticed another player running towards the helicopter. I knew that the chopper would be twice as effective if both seats, pilot and gunner, would be occupied. I waited for him and even did that little voice command thingy and told him to get in. As I remember it, he skipped and jumped towards the helicopter with a big smile on his face. There may even have been slow motion involved. He ran up to the helicopter, pulled out his gun and shot me in the face. Are you fucking serious? He team killed me to get the helicopter and then flew off on his own. How exactly is that beneficial to the team effort, you selfish, egotistical cunt? After speaking with quite a number of my fellow players, it turns out that this sort of thing is not uncommon. It seems there are a lot of people out there playing this game who have no idea what it's about, what the whole point of a team is. Retarded players aside, there is another plague ravishing the multiplayer scene. A plague that makes this game in particular completely unbearable. Back in 1942, your skill with a weapon was all that matters. And the same applied to Desert Combat, the massively popular mod that sparked the decision to move the Battlefield series into modern combat. The battlefield was a fair and even one, and no two players were unevenly matched. If you died, it was because your enemy bested you, and you respected him for it. If you killed someone, you got the immense sense of achievement and joy, knowing that you outwitted or outplayed your opponent. It was exciting, it was fair, and it was fun. Already in Battlefield 2, the different classes could unlock new and improved weaponry, and even back then I was annoyed with this system. Even though I loved the game and I played it religiously for about 2 years, every time I killed someone with my L85 rifle, only to run up to the body and see a standard issue M16 lying on the ground, it just didn't feel like a fair kill. Now, with Battlefield 3, they've taken that questionable design decision which made team balance a real nuisance and made it a gigantic fucking problem. This winter solstice festival season will undoubtedly see many new players entering the field of battle. They will jump into their helicopters only to be blown to smithereens by veteran players who may not have any skills at all but have laser-guided heat-seeking missiles, stealth and anti-missile flare systems, all of which newcomers lack, making the fight an infinitely unfair one. The same goes for infantry combat. In a pitch-black tunnel or a lush forest, how the fuck is a soldier aiming down the iron sight of an M16 supposed to compete with an adversary holding a G36C with a fucking thermal scope mounted on it? It's ridiculous. Not only is it immensely frustrating for the newcomer who doesn't stand a snowball's chance in the fires of Mount Doom, it also gets really boring, really fast for the player who always wins. One of the main reasons why I don't play Call of Duty games online anymore is because they became too easy. It's the same fundamental law as the one about really ridiculously good-looking men and sex. If it gets too easy to get, sooner or later they turn gay. Each and every time I die at the hands of an enemy playing Day of Defeat, I of course get annoyed, but that feeling is followed by a deep sense of respect, knowing that we were evenly matched and he bested me. Each and every time I get killed by a higher ranking enemy playing Battlefield 3 on the other hand, that feeling of annoyance is followed by a deep sensation of anger, knowing that we weren't evenly matched, and my enemy's only call to fame is the time he has spent with the game. And every time I kill a lower ranking enemy, I feel pity, almost as if I've battered a defenseless squirrel to death. Ultimately, this upgradable weapon system is a really shitty and lazy way of keeping players coming back. It's fundamentally a sales trick to keep players hooked enough so that they will buy the inevitable fucking DLC packs. Since Battlefield 2, I've had a love-hate relationship with this series. Love DICE, hate EA. But this time, EA's greed has ruined one of my favorite series. But am I going to stop playing this game? Fuck no, I almost have a silencer for my UMP45.
Ingvi, go do the dishes.
I'll do it right away, mistress.